there's never any push for reform before men get married. It's always just man up and take the risk anyway. And the risk is worth the reward. But none of these guys have seen the other side of divorce and what happens to these men. What are some of the worst horror stories that you have witnessed over the years?
The suicides. I have talked to several men that ultimately killed themselves because of family court issues. Other things, I mean, children getting kidnapped, taken overseas, men chasing them, trying to find their children, just the depression that goes with that, and the fact that the system does not care. The people that create this won't do anything about it. Almost every divorce is a nightmare story. Guys get financially eviscerated. Often the cases in family courts are based on false accusations. The first thing family law attorneys do, particularly with women, is saying, I think he hit you, didn't he? And until they get that yes, and then once that goes out, the police will investigate. Most of the time they find there hadn't been an assault here, there's no charges. But by that time, the court has the accusation, and they issue ex parte restraining orders and everything else just based on the accusation. No proof whatsoever. It is amazing what they do. They pluck guys from their home, throw them in jail, treat them like garbage, tell them they can't come within 200 yards of their own children, and with nothing, no proof of anything.
Is that why the lawyers pander? Oh, that just made a lot of, because sometimes I'll talk to lawyers and I just feel like they're lying. And I don't know why, but I just like, there's one that replied to me recently when I said men, like in general, are better parents. And he was like, well, no, you don't always know that. Da, da, da. And I was just like, yeah, but you can look at abuse stats and you can come to a conclusion. I'm not saying it's 100%. Some men are terrible dads, just like some women. But I always find it odd when someone's arguing with me about a fact, you know, and it just, the way they react to that is just very strange, I guess.
Well, you always have to remember that between the judge and the two attorneys that are involved in any divorce, these people play golf together.
Oh.
So
if everyone knew how bad family court was, they would look bad too because they've been facilitating this stuff.
Absolutely.
And the lawyers are in on it too. So you can't even really trust what they're saying. I mean, sometimes maybe you can, but I'm just thinking
it's rare.
Yeah, because they're the ones telling the women to accuse the men of abuse.
And what's one of the first things that family law attorneys do when they get a new client? I need to see all your assets. We want to see what you're worth. And they calculate how much of that stuff they can get before the divorce is over.
So let's just say someone's worth $100,000, how would that?
They will take the case, bleed that money down, and when the money is out, they'll say, okay, we got a settlement now.
Oh. And
between the two.
Oh. So they're trying to get the people's net worth to zero, basically. Take all the money they can and then make a settlement. And since it's usually the guy's money, because more often than not, that's why they're lying.
This is all a scam. All of it.
That makes I could not figure out why he was lying. Because I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a feeling, I guess. But I'm like, they're hiding something. The way they're answering and responding to these facts is not honest. And I notice it from the tradcons a lot but their ego investments, their religion. So like if that's why they do it, I think anyways. They love their religion, but because they look bad if people knew what they did behind closed doors.
Absolutely. That's my belief. And this is, I couldn't prove this in a study, but I can tell you over and over again, the men I've counseled, they suddenly came to some kind of arrangement precisely when the money was running out.
Wow.
And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that family law attorneys are like ambulance chasers.
What are ambulance? Sorry, I don't get that. Sorry.
Personal injury attorneys that, hang out in hospital ERs and find clients who have been in automobile
Oh.
wrecks, and here I can make you some money. And those
It's just
guys,
kind of a scummy profession, family court, because
family
that,
courts are scummy. They're
yeah,
horrible
yeah,
places.
but I'm even thinking family law, because unless you're like maybe a men's rights attorney, that sort of thing, it's like odds are you have to screw over men to get paid.
And you don't want a men's rights attorney or anybody identifying that. Here's the problem. The courts hate that. When attorneys come in and act like their male clients actually have rights
Right.
and there's a constitution and they should be treated this way, courts don't want any of that. They want compliance. I can't tell you how many guys were asking their attorneys, why aren't you saying this? Why aren't you doing that? You know,
Oh my gosh, I've heard that in the UK too, where they said their attorneys don't even tell them the right thing to do.
yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
It's like, why aren't we fighting this way or that way? Oh, don't worry about it. This is the way it's done, that sort of thing. And of course, it bleeds the family dry of money. And then once that's done, it's like, okay, we're done now.
Oh, that makes I could not figure out why. And the judges have to be in on it too. So, do you think it's just gynocentrism that makes them do this, or the love of money?
I think gynocentrism helps, but I mean, they're attorneys. It's the money.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Because sometimes I wonder if I don't know, because there was a switch that clicked for me when I was interviewing men and women would always say they were abused, right? And someone in my comments section said, ask if they filed a police report. And I couldn't believe none of them did.
Of course they
And
didn't.
yeah, and that was when I was like, oh, these bitches are lying. None of them are telling the truth. Because then I would, it's like you ask one question, because your natural reaction when someone says they're abused, I think it's like an empathetic, for me anyway, was why would you lie about that? I would just believe them. But then I would ask like 2 or 3 questions. Like one chick said that she was thrown down a flight of stairs by her ex-boyfriend, right? So that sounds pretty bad,
That's
right?
pretty rough.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, what led up? And someone in my comment section was like, ask her what led up to the fight. And so she's like, oh, I wouldn't leave his house. So what I think happened based on the way she answered was she wouldn't leave his house. She was making a scene with his kid there, and he was pushing her to get out, and she fell down the flight of stairs because she wouldn't leave.
Yep.
And
not surprising at all.
Yeah, and so I talked to other guys, and they're like, "Oh, my ex-girlfriend refused to like." They've all have a very similar. Maybe there wasn't a police involved, but you could ask guys, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, women do that all the time. They refuse to leave. They'll make a scene."
Another part of that scenario is guys that are in relationships with women that are psychologically and emotionally very abusive, which like borderline personalities are. They can be horrendously abusive people. A guy will take that abuse for years, and then one day he can't take it anymore and he slaps her. That's all the world will ever see is the moment he slapped her. They won't pay any attention to anything that led up to it. Nothing else matters. He hit a woman. Time to go to jail and take all your stuff. And the guy says, yeah, I did it. And nobody cares that he'd been provoked for years and abused for years.
Or they'll hit first.
Yep.
And then one day they get slapped back.
Yep. And the police will arrest the guy in that every time.
Yeah. Well, so I guess my question is, in family court, do you think they know that the women are lying? Or
they don't care.
Oh, they don't care.
They know the whole thing is corrupt. Steve Baskerville wrote about this very well. They know precisely what they're doing in there. They know exactly what's going on. They know the family's being fleeced for all the money. They know the children are being destroyed. They know that
they just don't care.
They don't care
because they're making money.
This is their routine. This is what they do, and family courts that I know of don't have cameras in them. There's no real appeals process for family courts. You just whatever the judge rules, that's it. So they have impunity, and they can do anything they want, and they do.
Right.
The only thing that's going to save family courts in this country is bulldozers. Mow them down and rebuild. It's the only thing that will ever save them. It's just too corrupt.
Do you think that's possible?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't either.
No, I wish it was.
I wish they could record it and make it public. I think that would help. Because I think when you put the light on something unjust, then people start to speak out. And that's why sometimes these trad cons, I'll do debates with them and I'm just like, why don't you come with me and go tell the men that served their country and got divorced, raped, got their children taken, that they're not a real man. Go tell them. Go ahead. That it's their fault their marriage ended.
Well, it won't be anything they haven't heard 1,000 times already.
Yeah.
The world is so gynocentric. One of the biggest problems that I have with guys going through divorce is that their own families turn on them.
Oh my gosh. I interviewed one guy, his whole family.
Yep.
His whole family believed he was an abuser for they came around 5 years later, but yeah, she got his whole
family. Bit late for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it happen 1,000 times. Guys, their own fathers, their own mothers turn on them and side with the abusive woman. It's amazing. That is when you take fundamental biological gynocentrism, which arguably is a necessity, and you turn it into that, you've got a crazy world. And I don't see what there is to stop it at this point other than eventually the society will collapse and that'll be the start of something new and maybe a little bit better. But until then, I don't see anything changing. It's too profitable and it's too easy for people. If people can turn on their own children because a woman said he hit me or he was mean to me, man, we're a long way from being able to fix anything.
And they never ask, even the Michael Knowles interview, he didn't ask her any freaking. I'm like, guys, you don't ask any questions.
I think Michael is challenged. I'm sorry.
You think he's mentally challenged?
Well,
he's a smart guy, but.
Well, simps are some of the smartest people you'll meet, some of the dumbest people. It's not about intelligence or culture or race or ethnicity or religion or anything. Simping, it runs through the veins of Western men. Period. And then you get people like Knowles will be like, yeah, marry a hoe. It's okay. And I don't think he would let, I wonder if Michael would let a saved pedophile watch his children.
Never.
If you're using his logic.
Yeah, but he thought it was wise to bring a woman that used to get men to cheat her on married men.
Yes.
She's going to end up fucking one of the, sorry about the language, but I'm a swearer, I don't know. But she's going to end up having sex with one of the married guys and they're going to be like, what happened? How did this?
I can't believe she did that.
Shock and awe. And then I'm the bad guy for pointing it out.
Absolutely. And that is gynocentrism. Modern gynocentrism is you cannot speak ill of any woman.
Or even question, why did you raise your prices after you were saved? That seems a bit odd.
It does, doesn't it, for somebody that's turned away from those ways?
Yeah, freaking A.